Ladies and gentlemen, WWE 2K26 has dropped a new update, one of those that I like to call the live updates. And yes, you guys see the TV off in the back. I'm still having some issues, so the hotspot gonna have to pull through and get this video up on YouTube for us. But before we get into all that, make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. You guys have been enjoying the content. We are on our way to 24,000 subscribers, so make sure to hit that sub button for me. Let's get into it. Patch 1.10 was received yesterday by the community, and man, there's a lot to talk about with that patch, but we're not going to get into all that yet. There are still things that are broken, that are good, and things that they actually fixed that were not disclosed in the patch notes as always. And there's also some stuff that was addressed in the patch notes but actually wasn't really addressed in the game. So we'll have to get into all that. But guys, my faction, as you guys know, we get into these updates all the time. There's a lot to go ahead and talk about because there are no new packs at the moment, and that's fine. You guys see me in World Tour. Now World Tour did get, a couple updates last week, and that's that, but it hasn't really gotten anything else this week. Now there is one thing that I did mention last week in the video, and we see that Ruby cards are now here, and we see Blake Monroe, Alex Shelley, Cole Quinn, Hector Flores. I mean, we got Ruby cards to go. I mean, the only thing that I have to say that I don't like about these Ruby cards is the fact that Cole Quinn, Hector Flores, Tavish, like, those cards should not be in here personally, man. Like, I just really gotta put that out there. I really dislike the fact that these cards are in here. I know that they help towards collector level, but with collector level not being as important as it was at one point, to me personally, I'm just not too crazy about these cards. But Alex Shelley, Blake Monroe, Kiana James, Roxanne, JC, Mateo, who's no longer with the WWE. Interesting to see him go out there and get a card. But again, these are solid choices. And yes, I'm on Xbox, so what you guys are seeing here is basically not the account that I usually use for my faction. I have the Ruby card section unlocked at this point, but that is something I'm going ahead and take notice. Now, the Amethyst card reward, as we've seen prior, is still locked. Now, for me personally, when I look at these things still locked, it is a little bit, mind-boggling, because we see now in live events we are getting Amethyst Stone Cold, and we're getting different Amethyst cards, at this point, and this is still locked. I assume that this will be unlocked soon, but hopefully it doesn't take as long as the Ruby card rewards did, because it took us 2 months, over 2 months, to get the Ruby card rewards in game. So that is something to go ahead and keep in mind with this. Hopefully those Amethyst card rewards do come out for a lot of you guys that are still playing. Now we look at the card market, and we see that there are cards in here that weren't in the market before. As you know, every 2 weeks we do seem to get an update. Brock Lesnar, the one that was available last year, it looks to me like, it is now available, and you can go ahead and get this Brock Lesnar, and you can pay a whole lot of VC for him. 85,000 VC. Now, we always do the math, you know what I'm saying? If you go into, the VC market, you see that for 85,000, you're at least gonna have to spend 30 bucks. 30 bucks is a lot of, it's a lot of VC. And I'm not going to make the conversation of this video how much VC it costs, but just to put it in perspective, if you want CM Punk, Undertaker, Brock Lesnar, you're going to be looking at a nice low penny for that attire. Now, if you guys are interested, just go in community creations and go and get those attires. There's a lot of good community creation attires out there, especially for the CM Punk one, y'all. I believe this was in here last week, so that's something to notice. Just don't even waste your money on that. It should be available on community creations. Just my 2 cents, but if you do got it like that, go ahead and spend that $30. You know what I'm saying? Me personally, I know that I don't got it like that, so I will not be spending that money on, any CM Punk attires or Brock attires, because the only reason that I would want this Brock attire is for promos. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to get this unless I go into community creations and hope that somebody, got it done on there. So again, just the way that I look at my faction at this point, y'all, you guys should just be earning for your singular persona cards. Realistically, if you play this mode for persona cards, you're gonna be, likely playing just to get one persona card at a time. There's no way that you can get so many persona cards at once. Just my 2 cents. It's really tough with the way the system is built. Now, there were some badges that were nerfed, according to a lot of players on X, on YouTube, I mean everywhere. Those badges was making the grind easier to get my faction points and get different things. Unfortunately, right now, that is not the case. It seems that a lot of this stuff was nerfed to make it harder. That's what's, again, I'm going to use the word mind-boggling. That to me is what is mind-boggling, because with the reception that the game has gotten, and especially this mode, right? Because I don't want to generalize the entire game under what people think of my faction, but people have been complaining about the grind methods and the way that, it is now in 2K26, and it seems like they continue to double down to make sure that, people feel the way that they do and basically make it harder to grind. And obviously we know just the goal of this mode, in my opinion. I mean, it's a revenue maker, it's a money maker. That's what it's here for. But when you continuously go and nerf things and make it harder, man, it is hard to get invested into this mode. It really is. It really is. And it is unfortunate that things like that continue to happen, especially when my faction is viewed the way that it is. I am personally somebody that enjoyed last year, but I can't say the same for this year. It's not even close. For the sole purpose of playing my faction, that doesn't have to do with persona cards, which to me is the life of the mode. Yeah, there's not really much going on, in my opinion, with this mode that should just make you hype and excited to play. It doesn't really have that feeling to it. And for me, it just sucks. I hope that they can bring that feeling back for somebody like me that did enjoy even the littlest bit last year. I played from launch all the way to around June full time, and playing it and enjoying everything. And this year it's just been really hard to find that feeling, in my opinion. So hopefully we see those things get better. We see here that we have EO Sky, the superstar of the month. So that is something to keep in mind. You get a free Amethyst EO Sky, and then you also have, the Backlash, which drops tomorrow. And you have John Cena, JBL. So you need to have that 79 overall John Cena to get this JBL. Usually there are more live events, but being that there is no card drop at today, which has been happening every week the last couple weeks, it's going back to 2 weeks, it seems like now. It seems like there's not much going on in terms of live events, at least this week around. So we'll have to see what they do. But for right now, there is tons of live event content. So that's one thing that we certainly cannot, look over. I mean, even 83 overall Carmelo Hayes, shoot, I might go on ahead and get on my PlayStation and play that. I know that I don't have a Danger Zone card, but we'll figure something out. I do think that a lot of these live event cards, they did make them, obtainable. I'm not talking about persona card, y'all, but, just like Ruby Braun Breaker, Ruby Mello, I mean, those cards are pretty cool. And then also having the ability to get Stone Cold if you do get Ruby Trick Williams, which is indeed in super packs right now. That is cool too. This is the update, y'all. This is what it is. We have to go on ahead and talk about what they did and what they reverted in the patch, in patch 1.10, because that obviously does affect my faction. At first, when reading the patch notes, I didn't realize exactly what was going on because I'm just not familiarized with a lot of the badges in my faction this year, but it does seem that they continuously are changing many things. So we'll have to stay tuned to see what's going to happen next in the history of 2K26 is my faction. Nonetheless, though, guys, make sure to stay tuned for the next one. Like, comment, and subscribe. You guys have enjoyed the content and you made it this far. I'm going to catch y'all. Peace.